Yo, what's good everyone? Zdravo! So today, as you may have understood, reading there and listen to me zdravoing you, we are doing geography now, Serbia. I should have done this sooner, but this is a very long episode and I didn't have enough time to watch it because I don't just want to watch it. I want to stop it sometimes and try to discuss it with you guys, you know? I don't want to just stand here, do a reaction video, just staring at people talking and say, wow, damn, okay. No, I just want to interact. Just want to interact with you because I'm really enjoying this kind of videos. They're really amazing. I like to learn new things and nothing. That's it. So we should just watch it, guys, because this is very long.
Alright, out of all my subscribers, I think the ones that have been the most patient have been the Serbians. Ever since I made the Albania episode and had the pleasant experience of realizing the ramifications of making any kind of content pertaining to the Balkan sub-region, Serbians have been emailing me for years wanting to help with the Serbia episode. And I get it. Serbia has quite a polarized reputation in Europe. It's kind of like, hey, show him some respect. Do you remember what happened in the 90s?
Yeah, I do. He was very cordial and polite.
He was not cordial to me. I like yogurt.
Oh, hush, Albania. Serbia's cool, plus Hoxha was like 10 times worse than anything the Serbs did to you.
You helped Hoxha at one time.
Yeah, but then you ditched us for China, and that didn't even last, and you were left isolated.
I mean, he did kind of kill our Archduke starting World War I, but, you know, teaming up with the Austrians was kind of weird to begin with anyway, so...
Actually, that was a Bosnian Serb from our side, but basically the same thing.
Huh? Serb Metallica, right. Oh yeah, great.
Yeah, of course. I watched the Montenegro episode. They always talk about how Montenegrin loves to sleep, so that was funny.
It's time to learn geography. Now!
Hey everybody, I'm your host Barbs. So as you know, I love having real people from the countries we cover in these videos. And with that, say hi to my friend Ivan.
Zdravo, brate!
You know, fun fact, we actually went to high school. We didn't hang out at all.
Not at all.
Then we bump into each other like, what, 10 years later, 15 years later?
15 years later, and
He's got such a nice beard. I want to have a beard like him.
remembered that I was Serbian. He said, guess what, I'm doing a video on Serbia. Do you want to be in it? And I was like, sure.
Ivan, explain, who are you? What are you?
Both my parents are from Belgrade, and I have my dual citizenship.
And you're fluent, right? You speak it?
I do.
All right, Ivan, you ready for this episode?
Yes, I am.
It's like we're walking into a death trap.
Such a nice
I'm
guy.
Serbian. It's what we do.
So get ready, we're gonna Serb you up. A great new episode.
Serbia.
All right, we barely started the episode and already we're going to jump into the most controversial part of the video, Serbia's domain.
Almost none of it makes sense, and everyone just gets mad.
I don't know, I made the Israel and North Korea episodes. We can probably handle this. First of all, the country is landlocked in the heart of the South European region known as the Balkans. The country is divided into 29 districts with the capital and largest city, Belgrade, located in the upper central part of the country, right on the Danube River. This is where you can find the largest and busiest airport, Nikola Tesla International. The second largest and busiest airport, though, is actually in the third largest city, Niš, Constantine the Great International, located in the southeastern part of the country. Roadways traverse every section of the country, the busiest highway being the A1. Railways are everywhere as well, divided into main lines and branch lines. Now, Serbia has a lot of territorial anomalies. If you look at the Danube River border with Croatia, you will see the river has shifted flow directions numerous times over the decades, which creates newly formed mini Penne enclave river islands, the most contested ones being Šarengrad and Vukovar. Some islands are technically not even claimed by either side, which certain cheeky individuals see as an opportunity to jump in and claim for themselves as founders of a new micronation, like what happened with Siga Island and this Czech guy that came in and made his own country called Liberland. Later, Croatian authorities came and kicked him out. From there, you have pretty much the same situation on the Drina River border with Bosnia and Herzegovina. Speaking of which, in the southwest part of the country, you have the pterodactyl-looking panhandle near Mistrar that is only accessible by one narrow roadway. And a little further off, you have the Medorice, Sastavci Bosnian enclave, and districts are kind of separated into 3 provinces made up of 5 statistical regions. The northern districts are collectively known as Vojvodina, and this area has a level of autonomy, as it is the most diverse part of Serbia with 6 official languages and about a third of the population comes from 26 different ethnic groups. They have their own government assembly in Novi Sad, the second largest city, and maintain their own infrastructure, science, education, and culture laws. From there you have the central Serbia area, which has 3 other statistical regions: Belgrade, Šumadija and Western Serbia, and southern and eastern Serbia.
And now, folks, here's the really complicated part.
You've all been waiting for it. If you ask the Serbian government and many Serbians, they will consider this last area as part of Serbia, known to them as Kosovo and Metohija. Kosovo, which comes from the Serbian word for blackbird, and Metohija from Greek meaning land of monasteries. The thing is, is, this area is about 90% ethnically Albanian, and after the fall of Yugoslavia, this area has been a hotbed of secessionist movement and controversy. And Serbian law, on paper, treats Kosovo as another part of Serbia. After the Kosovo War in 1999, the UN Security Council established Resolution 1244, which temporarily put Kosovo under interim administration under the UN, but technically placed Kosovo's status as a meaningful, autonomous, and self-administering region of Serbia's claim until all parties could agree on a resolution to move forward. The problem is, decades later, there have been no resolutions made. Legislatively, Serbia has almost no rule or influence on the area, and in 2008, Kosovo declared independence, but the Serbian government did not recognize it. It was even taken to the International Court of Justice, which ruled the declaration as not violating international law. Today, there is still a divided response from the international community. The recognition numbers tend to fluctuate over the years, some joining, some withdrawing, but as of 2020, there are officially 97 countries that recognize Kosovo as a sovereign state, about half of the UN countries. However, to be admitted into the UN, you need a 2/3 majority vote, and if any of the main 5 nations veto, then the state in question cannot be approved. In this case, Russia and China have exercised their veto power. So yeah, that's that.
Explaining how things got this way will take forever. But long story short,
That's really interesting. That's really interesting. It's very complicated.
you have to go back to Yugoslavia.
All the Slavic states of the Balkans, except for Bulgaria, were all a part of the former nation known as Yugoslavia. You've probably heard of it.
Now, at the turn of the 20th century, Serbians and Albanians were about equal in population in the Kosovo-Metohian region. But during Tito years, it was like...
Well, we lost a ton of men from those wars, and the mineral and coal mines aren't going to extract themselves. We need a cheap labor force. I'll just bring in some more Albanians.
And from there, the Albanian population grew even more, and by the end of the century, made up over 90%.
In Yugoslav Republic times, all the ethnic groups got along relatively well, and at some point really did function like a pan-Slavic unit.
In the last years, though, it was kind of like...
Comparatively, life is alright. I mean, we have basic life necessities, subsidized Medicare, and school is not bad.
Hey, did you hear Tito died?
Oh, I'm bringing back the motherland.
Frumpst, which new countries ceded and became independent within the following years.
So, of course, as they were witnessing that, Kosovo tried to jump in, and it was like...
I mean, look, Croatia, Slovenia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, I mean, they all did it. Why can't I?
Because, dude, you have always been an integral part of Serbia. It was the birthplace of our orthodoxy, a key part to the Serbian identity. Our most sacred monasteries and churches are there.
Well, if you love the land so much, why did you sell so much of it to us Albanians and deliberately bring us in? Plus, Albanians have inhabited the Balkan Peninsula for millennia too. You're not the only ones.
Are you seriously gonna go back to that Illyrian thing again?
Yeah, I am, because we are descended from the Illyrians.
But they really improved in that, like the like the older ones, of these videos, they were really funny. Like I said, they look like school recitals, but this one looks much better,
That was just a theory and a weakly supported one. And even if you were descended from them, they live mostly on the Dalmatian coast on the Adriatic.
Well, where do you think we came from? We didn't just pop up out of nowhere, and even so, it still predates the Slavic migration period.
Within the Balkans as a whole, maybe yes. But within the Kosovo subregion, not a chance.
Okay, oh my god, okay, you know what? Everybody's breaking away. Guess I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do it.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No, you're not.
Yes, I am.
No,
Yeah, okay. UN. Yeah, we just did that skit. For what it's worth, I wrote that skit based off of things that you guys, the Serbian and Kosovo Albanian geography peeps, gave me information. I wrote it off of that.
This skit is amazing.
It's your fault.
Alright, well, so today's day and age, Serbs live in isolated pockets throughout Kosovo as minorities.
I actually got an email from geography Tamara, who is an anomaly. She's actually half Serbian, half Albanian. She goes to Kosovo all the time. Here's her explaining the experience.
Hi, geography peeps. I'm Tamara from Serbia. Actually, I'm 50% Albanian because my father is Albanian, and I have been to both sides. People, normal people that are not involved in politics and war stuff, they're trying to move forward. I pretty much felt welcomed. I spoke only Serbian because that is my native language and I don't speak any word of Albanian, unfortunately. They were like, wow, you're from Belgrade, wow, say hello to Belgrade, I used to live in Belgrade, etc. As long as we are normal and as long as we speak normally between each other, there will be no problems. People are trying to live normally, and that's all.
Thanks, Tamara. Well, that's enough for now. Some notable sites of interest you might want to check out if you go to Serbia include
Petrovardin Fortress, the Skull Tower of Niš, the Nikola Tesla Museum, the Krupaj Spring, Drvengrad Timber Village, these ruins of the Yugoslav Army headquarters, Tito's grave, Drina River Rock House,
and probably the most
what was that? So cool.
Ruins of the Yugoslav Army headquarters, Tito's grave, Drina River.
Wow, that's so nice. But how can there be so many tourists going to check out this place? It looks so small. Like just one or two people at the time can go inside.
A rock house.
And probably the most iconic landmark of Serbia, the
Wow,
Church
that's
of
a
Saint
beautiful
Sava. Oh, and also, Ivan, you were talking about splavs. What are those?
Splavovi. Splavovi are pretty much river clubs, nightclubs. If you ever go to Serbia, be sure to check them out. And they're all on the rivers.
Oh, and speaking of water, that brings us to the next segment, the... Okay, here's the easy part of the episode, I guess, right? I mean, we're just gonna talk about land, resources, wildlife, and so on. You can't really argue about that, right?
Oh, I'm sure we can find something to argue about.
First of all, Serbia lies right at the crossroads of Central Europe and the Balkan Peninsula. Essentially, there are two main topographic regions, the flat Pannonian Basin in the north half, which is basically this entire plain surrounded by a bowl-shaped perimeter. This is the flattest part of the country, and...
This is really nice. This is really nice. I've met many Serbian people when I was living in Malta. There was so many, all nice people, very nice people. I really look forward someday to visit this beautiful country. I really look forward.
With the most fertile land where the majority of agriculture can be found. From there, the south part of the country is made up of minor mountain chains, Kopalnik, Zlatibor, Serbian Carpathians, and Balkan Mountains, which is where you can also find the tallest point within non-disputed Serbia, Mijor, at about 2,200 meters high, which is split between them and Bulgaria. However, if you are a person that stands on the Serbia side of the Kosovo dispute, then you would probably say Velika Rudoka, or as the Albanians call it, Maja Enjeriut, in the far south is the highest peak at over 2,600 meters. Yeah, there you go. We found something you could argue about.
I told you we would.
This mountainous area harbors the largest forest zones, national parks, and forest reserves, as well as caves and karst systems in Serbia, including the largest cave open to the public, Resava Cave near Jelovac, or the oddly shaped Devil's Town, the Voljavaroš rock formation, with weird capped spires created by volcanic activity a long time ago. The country has a ton of rivers, almost all of which drain into the mighty Danube, the longest river and the largest river that makes up part of the border with Croatia and Romania. The longest river fully within Serbia, though, would be the Morava, which flows northward from the southern highlands. Due to the configuration of the terrain, Serbia doesn't have many large natural lakes, the largest being Vlasina in the south, which is technically a semi-man-made reservoir, only about 10 kilometers long. The largest man-made lake, though, would be the Iron Gates, which is essentially a reservoir created by the Iron Gate dams that serve power to both Serbia and Romania. The country is subject to occasional seismic activity, mostly in the south, with mild earthquakes usually reaching no higher than 6 on the Richter scale.
That's about it for the natural side of things, and there's so much more that goes on into it.
Yeah, and with that, it's time for our triple shot of espresso break from this Geography Now mug, more of which you can get at geographynow.com.
Serbians do love coffee.
Yeah.
See, he knows me already so well.
Noah, take it away.
Alright, let's get to it, shall we? As far as natural landscape, Serbia has
Like the alkane floating with the facts.
lots of intriguing hidden gems, such as the Ubat's Gorge and river that twists into sharp hairpin turns. The Tisa River has that cool phenomenon in which mayflower insects come to mate for one day and die. For what it's worth though, Serbia is an agricultural powerhouse. The abundance of rivers and fresh water make over 2/3 of the country arable, and about 1/6 of the population is involved in farming. They are today the third largest producers of raspberries in the world after Russia and Mexico, and the third largest plum producer after China and Romania. Today their economy is more heavily centered around energy, machinery, mining, and industry, mostly in the automotive parts sector, which alone makes up about 1/5 of all export earnings. The country has notable reserves of oil, gas, and the 5th largest known deposits of coal. Tourism has been relatively more difficult for them compared to other European countries. But with cheap prices and countless places to check out, Serbia has been voted the #1 emerging travel destination in Europe. Some hotspots are the remote nature reserves and outdoors. And with that, here's our animal correspondent, Gary Harlow.
We're doing this or what? Oh, that would have been sick.
Gary Harlow here! In Serbia, for one.
This one is new. This guy is new. Wait. I think I never saw him before in another episode.
Serbia has 5 national parks, 10 nature parks, and 72 natural reserves. The mountainous regions are home to many of the 90+ species of mammals, like voles, otters, badgers, grey wolves, Eurasian lynx, and brown bears. 380 species of birds can be found here as well. Species like storm pestrels, egrets, storks, osprey, griffin, vultures, and the national animal, the European eagle. Fun fact,
How many countries is the national animal, the eagle? There are so many. Oh my god, the bats.
Country has over 30 species of bats alone. Many say have played a role in creating the legends of vampires, which also Orlando Bloom here, which also originated here in Serbia as well. Well, that's all for me.
Thanks, Caleb. I mean, Gary, whatever. Moving on. All right, time to end this segment as we always do. Food. Serbia follows the Balkan style of cuisine, so a lot of the food we're about to mention can be found in other countries around Serbia, but with their own versions or twists on them. Some of the dishes you guys suggest to be mentioned include things like, this is where we gotta get out the pronunciations, but alas,
you do not have to read anything that's in parentheses.
Pechenje, wedding cabbage stew. Ivar, white bean soup. Gibanica, Serbian-style pork rinds. Barbecue meat stew. There's a lot of Turkish-influenced foods that
baklava. I think that's something sweet they sell like in kebab places as well. I think.
Came in from Ottoman times like sarma or Austro-Hungarian influenced dishes like krofen. Two of which are actually probably considered the national dishes. Chavapi and Kara Dorjaba schnitzels. And don't forget the most important thing, a shot of rakia. Something probable to unite all South Slavs, and they all love it. And speaking of the Slavic culture, that brings us to...
Thank you, Noah. Yeah, rakia. The best kind is never bought. It's always homemade, right?
Domaća. That's how you say homemade. It's domaća, and that is true. It was actually also used for medicinal purposes. They would rub it on my chest like a vapor rub.
And speaking of culture, I asked some of you guys, the Serbian geography peeps, to explain what it means to be Serbian, and here are some of the things you guys said.
Serbia. I'm loud, I'm proud, a lot of the time Serbians consider themselves to be misunderstood. Serbians are Slavic people, but very influenced by the peoples who lived on the Balkan Peninsula before.
We are considered to be the terrorists, vampires, but actually the truth is that we are maybe amongst the most hospitable people in the world. Actually, we really love to party and really love to drink, of course.
In Serbia, we really love sarcasm, and almost all our jokes are sarcastic. Basically, one of the most important traits of Serbian people, and it's called inat. So there is no quite good translation for this word, like a trait that makes you do or not do something just in order to prove something, in despite of something.
About inat. Inat is something deep inside our blood. For example, you cannot climb that tree. You ain't gonna tell me what to do. I will climb that tree right away. And just watch me.
Serbians are great people, and I say this directly to the Serbian people. I wish that the Serbian people are more united with each other. Vreme je došlo da se držimo zajedno, prijatelji moji. Idemo ka pobedi. Veliki pozdrav.
Thanks, guys. In any case, here's the demographic breakdown. The country has about 7.1 million people, not including the disputed area of
Wow. Looks much bigger than that.
Kosovo, which has about 1.8 million, and has one of the highest aging populations with an average age of 43 years old, and about 1/5 of all households consist of only one person. The country is made up primarily of ethnic Serbs at about 83%. From there, not including the Kosovo population, the second largest group would be Hungarians at about 3.5%, the Romani at 2%, and the rest are an influx of various other people groups like the Slovaks, Czechs, Croatians, Ruthenians, Romanians, most of whom live in the North Vojvodina province.
In Serbia, they use the Serbian dinar as their currency. This is what they look like. Cool. Money. We like making it rain.
Oh.
Anyways, they use the type C and F plug outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road.
Now, of course, the official language of Serbia is Serbian.
Serbia!
Which, if you didn't know, is basically the same language as Croatian and Bosnian and Montenegrin, but they all swear they're all different languages. We already explained.
Look at his eyes. Oh my god. Wait.
Language as Croatian and Bosnian and Montenegrin, but they all swear they're all different languages. We already explained this in the Bosnia-Herzegovina episode. Another huge
I reacted to that yesterday, so you should go to check it out.
Part of the Serbian identity would be the Orthodox Church. Everyone respects it. The majority of Serbians identify as Orthodox. Even if they're not particularly religious and they carry the crosses, it's just something they cling to for their roots.
Every family has their own saint, and they celebrate Saints' Day, or Slava. Huge deal.
Also, what was that thing you did before? What is this thing?
It's the Serbian three-finger salute. Very big in Serbia. Like the Croatians, Bosnians, Slovenians, and the rest, they're all just Slavs.
So why are they such a dysfunctional family?
That would take ages easiest to explain, but it kind of goes like, all right, my fellow Balkan Slavs, how we doing?
You guys are always like the expansionist military power that lords over us in the name of pan-Slavism when we didn't ask for it.
And the moment one of us expresses even a slight sense of nationalism, you freak out and send in the tanks.
Yeah, you're one to talk.
Excuse me?
Yeah, remember we were allied against Serbia, but then you totally backstabbed me in 93?
You backstabbed me. I had like twice as many casualties from your attacks, all because you wouldn't let us use a gas station.
You guys are just embarrassing to be around.
Shut the up, Slovenia, you snobby wine-drinking, bank-liquidating, client capital-losing Latin wannabe. Yeah, I said it.
Really, North Macedonia? I'm not even technically part of this mess, but you know you're basically just confused Bulgarians.
I swear, if you say that one more time, and if anything, how come nobody talks about that 30-year-long dictatorship in Montenegro?
Huh? Guys, seriously. Okay, yeah, I admit it. I'm a little bit passionate sometimes. People sometimes can skew it as aggressive.
Understatement.
Maybe it's because I just wanted to hold on to and protect what we all started with. We were all just South Slavs, but history messed everything up. And maybe I like to romanticize the concept of pan-Slavism, and I take it to the extreme sometimes.
Understatement.
Take it how you will. Ultimately, my underlying objective has always been that I didn't want us to separate too much. Is that so bad? Živeli.
Živeli.
Yep, there you go. Well, no easy way to smoothly segue, so
That's how you solve all the problems in the world.
on a lighter note, let's talk about sports. Here's Art with the sports part.
What's up, guys? It's Art. I'm up in Washington State. This is where I'm from. Came up here to see my family. I'll be back soon, so let's get into it. What's up, guys? We are back in my mom's garden, and there's like lots of construction and dogs and like everything going on, so I'm sorry for the background noise. It annoys me too. So, in Serbia, athletes are some of the biggest investments of the country, and many have risen to international stardom. For one, the most popular sport is actually basketball, and water polo would probably come in second. They are tied with the U.S. with the most world basketball championships with 5 wins each, and their men's water polo team is normally ranked first or second in the world, tied with Hungary. Volleyball is huge too. Their men's team are Olympic gold medalists, and women's teams are 2018 world champions and 3-time European champions. And finally, tennis has seen some immense growth in
Djokovic, of course. He's like the one that won the most, I think, Djokovic, right? I'm not sure about that.
Popularity with the recent success of players like first-ranked women's champ Jelena Jankovic with 15 WTA single titles. And of course, the big guy everybody's heard of, world's #1 men's single player, 17 Grand Slam champion, Novak Djokovic. Guys, I'm not Serbian, right? Just give me a break. He's won so many...
Is Djokovic the right pronunciation or Djokovic? I'm not sure about that. Let me know down in the comments who pronounces it better.
Titles in all of the major tennis open events, is the first male to win all 9 Masters 1000 tournaments. He's been on countless talk shows, can speak about 5 or 6 languages fluently, and has donated millions of dollars to charity. He is quite the charmer. Sounds like a really cool dude. But you know what's not cool? Is that construction...
Now that I think about it, in Serbia there are many polyglots, right? Also the, what's his name? Oh my god, the football player, the one that's played in Italy as well. Oh my god, the little one, what is he called? Oh my god, I forget. He was playing for Inter, then he went to Real Madrid. I know he's from Serbia. I'm like 95% sure that he's from Serbia, but I don't remember his name. But you guys know, he played for Inter, he played for different teams. I think he's playing still in Real Madrid now. I'm not sure about that. Or he went away. I'm not sure about that, but I think you know who I'm talking about. But I'm not 100% sure he's from Serbia. But I know many people from Serbia speaks different languages. That's very interesting. I love to learn languages as well. So
background, and if they don't stop, I'm gonna go somebody up right now. All right. Back to you, Barbs.
Thank you, Art.
Now, moving on. Serbia is a land of extreme tradition, customs, and radiant celebration. Lots of stuff happened here.
So, with that, here's Random Hannah with culture stuff.
Mwah. See you later. To this day, beautiful Byzantine-era Orthodox frescoes are some of the most prized artworks and relics of their past. Serbian weddings usually last days, followed by a ton of traditions, such as shooting the apple, drinking from the buklja, smashing plates and glasses. Often, the best man and maid of honor take on godparent roles for future children. In many celebrations, of course, you might find the traditional clothing worn amongst men and women. Regions have different styles, but generally, you'll see the women women's yellow vest on shirts with pleated wool skirts and embroidered aprons. For men, you'll see long shirts, wide pants, a gunya vest, topped off with the shajkacha cap. Like many of their Balkan cousins, Serbia is riddled with folklore, superstitions, and rituals. For example, Serbian moms will often chastise anyone in the house that leaves 2 windows open, creating the promaya, or cold draft. That is a powerful breeze. It is considered bad luck to put any bag on the floor, especially a purse. Don't sit on the corner of a table, otherwise it is said you will not get married. The Orthodox faith often uses the Julian calendar, meaning that for them, Christmas lies on January 7th. Loud church bells, firing guns in the air, eating off the Christmas bread. They even burn their Christmas trees, or more like Christmas oak branches, and the better they burn, the more luck you will have. We do that in Alabama.
Oh, you do?
Yeah, we burn our Christmas trees. Put it in the your outside fire pit. We don't think it gives you good luck. It's just fun. Serbian Christmas is quite a spectacle of sights and sounds. And speaking of sound, now we go to Keith's terrible music segment.
Remember, buy this face at geographynow.com. I'll let people see my beautiful green eyes. Much of the traditional Serbian music is rooted in Orthodox acoustic choir vocals. Some of the traditional instruments include things like these things. And probably the most well-known traditional...
wait. Is that from Serbia or Russia? They do that kind of throat sing, that like something like that. I heard it once. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. I think it was from some Slavic country. I don't know if it was from Russia or from Serbia. Let me know down in the comments there also.
Instrument, the gusle. Usually these songs are accompanied by the various types of Serbian traditional dance, the most commonly known one being the kolo, based on a simple 1-2 rhythm, but some other variants have more complex 7-8 rhythms. To basically explain it to you in a very simple way, I drew this really crappy drawing of what it would look like on sheet music. You could count it as 1-2, 1-2, 1-2, 3, because 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. You got 2 and 2 and 3, and that makes 7, right? Simple math. Excuse me, it's all that damn yogurt. Alright, in contemporary music, this dude is considered the founder of modern Serbian music. Since then, there has been a really interesting evolution that mixes traditional music with modern music. In fact, you can find it played at the Gucha Trumpet Music Festival, the second largest music festival in all of Serbia. The other being the Modern Exit Festival. In fact, Serbia even won the Eurovision Song Contest in 2007. Serbians also are pioneers of ex-Yugoslavic rock bands and turbo folk, as described by geography Radosh, folk music on cocaine. And also, I highly recommend you all to check out David Maximicic. He is a wonderful human being. What bands from Serbia do you know? Alright, thank you all. Wow.
I don't know. I did react to a Dimash Kudajpjerkian song in Serbian. It was very beautiful. I really like this language. So maybe you should know some, I like to listen to light kind of music, opera music, and especially my favorite genre is rap. So if you got any of those, any beautiful songs from Serbia or better rap from Serbia, you can tell me down in the comments. I'm gonna check them out.
Thank you, Keith. And with that, here's the briefly condensed history segment. All those Greek, Macedonian, Roman, and Byzantine Empire things that predated the Slavs.
The Great Slavic Migration in the 7th century.
This dude is the first Serbian ruler.
Christianity comes in.
East-West schism. Serbs choose Orthodox.
Lots of new kings. Random battles.
Ottomans invade.
Centuries of small domestic conflicts.
Russo-Turkish War.
Serbian kingdom reestablished.
Balkan Wars.
World War I. Austria-Hungary pissed.
World War II. Germany goes ham on them.
Yugoslavia established.
Decades of Yugoslav awkwardness, but it kind of worked sometimes.
Dissolution of Yugoslavia.
Kosovo War.
Montenegro secedes.
I think, I don't know. You should let me know down in the comments if they have some Yugoslav kind of videos, to understand better the history from the beginning until the end of this kingdom, Maybe they have in geography now. I'm not sure about that. Anyway, after this, I'm gonna do the Croatia and wait, what else is there? Croatia, Montenegro, Bosnia. Yeah, just the Croatia, right? Because the Slovenia episode still hasn't come out. It should be the next one because they are going alphabetically. So I think like that.
Country works on trying to stay afloat during underlying controversies by making an image of being the party capital of Europe.
And here we are today.
Some of the top notable people from Serbia or of Serbian descent that you guys suggested we mentioned in this episode include
too many former kings and royal family members,
a bunch of other historical figures like these,
scientists and academics like these, and most of all, Nikola Tesla.
Nikola Tesla is Serbian.
He is Croatian.
Croatian.
He's
our
Croatian.
sweet claim him. No.
so many actors and artists like these.
What the hell? That's so funny. That's so funny. That's good. That's good resolving the problem like that. Better resolving them like that than having a war.
One of the most notable ones being Karl Malden.
And also there's that lady who survived like the highest fall from an airplane and survived.
Fun fact, did you know James Bond was based on a Serbian guy?
Anybody else we're missing?
There is my 95-year-old grandfather who still is painting, Petar Mladenovic.
Oh yeah, a lot of famous Serbs all over the world.
And speaking of international affairs, that brings us to... Now, it's been said that during Cold War times, Tito was the only man on Earth that successfully danced between both sides of the Cold War.
Today, outside of Europe, the USA, Canada, Argentina, and Australia have the largest populations of Serbs in diaspora. Many moved during Yugoslav breakup times, the largest community living in Chicago, Illinois, USA, which is interesting considering that the US was heavily involved in the NATO intervention of the Kosovo War. Nonetheless, the countries try their best to remain cordial.
Now, of course, this means that Russia and China have been close as both stand on the Serbian side of the Kosovo conflict. China offers huge business and investment support, and Russia, as a fellow Orthodox and Slavic country, has always had a soft spot for the Serbs. They helped refugees during the Ottoman times and even gave them land.
And they also share the same alphabet, Cyrillic, so you gotta expect they're very friendly with each other.
And in imperial territory of what is now Ukraine, called New Serbia and Slavo-Serbia.
In Africa, South Africa is probably the closest friend, as many South African resistance fighters trained in Serbia during the apartheid years, and today about 20,000 Serbs live in South Africa, mostly in Johannesburg. Nelson Mandela was even made an honorary citizen of Belgrade.
Closer to home though, because of historical controversy, Croatia and Bosnia are on paper enemies. But in reality today, when people from these countries meet, it's like everything drops and they're just bulky Slavs. The only difference is the religious background and maybe a few minor cultural differences, but otherwise they get each other.
When it comes to their best friends, however, most Serbians have told us two countries, Montenegro and Greece.
For Montenegro, it is often said the two are two eyes in the same head. They share lots of history, they saved each other many times in wars, lots of people intermarry and have property or businesses in both countries. And even though Montenegro is pushing a separation from Serbian identity movement, they can't deny the closeness they share.
For Greece, not only do they share the Orthodox thing, but they've always kind of helped each other in history, whether it was against the Ottomans or Greece being the only NATO country to refuse cooperation in the Kosovo dispute, standing with Serbia. Today, most Serbs go to Greece all the time for vacations, where they are welcomed with open arms. They share the same laid-back, dark humor, and when they meet, it's like an instant connection of powerful Balkan bond few nations in the world can understand. And for the conclusion, I think, Ivan, you should take it away. Whoop!
Centuries of dramatic events have led to the Serbia today that is stuck in between moving forward with one hand grasping to the glory days of the medieval Serbian kingdoms that are a frequent source of inspiration. So many things that have happened, yet nobody gets a full answer, and nobody fully wins anything. In the end, we're just a group of South Slavs. That's all we can say. We are Serbs. Živeli.
Živeli. Stay tuned. Seychelles is coming up next.
Not X. That's why they call it jet fuel.
That was really funny. But anyway, guys, this was very long, 28 minutes long, but it was really interesting, It keeps you staring at the monitor and, fill you with so many nice facts. I really love them. So guys, that's it for this episode. Whatever I had to say, I say it during the video, so let me know down in the comments what you thought about it, what are your comments, your thoughts on this, and I will do next the Croatia episode. So I hope you've all enjoyed it, and I will see you next time.